to the Earth, Aldebaran's climate is a lot calmer. Hurricanes and cyclones are unknown on the planet. As much in its appearance as in its biological characteristics, the continental flora of Aldebaran is similar to that of Earth. There is only half as many species, however, and some notable differences. For example, on Earth the prairies are mainly covered with grasses from the Gramineae family, while on Aldebaran moss is everywhere. Pleasant to the touch, moss makes prairies and especially the undergrowth a lot more welcoming than those that are found on Earth. On Earth, Gramineae doesn't grow in the shade of the forests. In their place grow a multitude of shrubs, ferns and creepers that make the Earth's forest undergrowth nearly inextricable and very inhospitable for people. On Aldebaran, moss invades the unlit forest soils, which in general prevents the growth of any other kind of vegetation. Contrary to the flora, fauna of Earth and Aldebaran hardly resembles one another. First, Aldebaran's continental fauna is less diverse than the Earth's, with there being nearly 10 times fewer animal species in the forests and prairies, with a clear predominance of herbivores. Aldebaran has no carnivorous family that corresponds to Earth's felines. And animals are in general smaller and less intelligent than their counterparts on Earth. As a result, the fauna is a lot less dangerous for humanity than that found on Earth, the exception of course of the fauna in the marshland regions, which are very unusual and remote. These areas hold dangerous species that have no equivalent on the blue planet. As should be expected, in the immense Aldebaran Ocean is where most of the planet's animal species are held. The ocean is bigger than all of the Earth's oceans put together, but the marine animals are also capable of living at very great depths. Nesters are large water-breathing sea creatures native to the oceans of Aldebaran. They have sleek dark skin with white bellies and 2 human-like arms. They do not stray from their algae banks in the deep seas, which they eat. They are quite inoffensive to humans, but their arms can be dangerous if a human comes too close. Blue floaters are bird-like creatures. They have no legs and can only land on water. They live their lives out sea. Seeing these birds flying through land is a sign of great danger coming from the ocean. They are exclusively fish eaters and are solitary. They lay eggs in shallow water, and newborn blue floaters immediately swim to the surface for their first breath. Amidea are strange, essentially harmless aquatic creatures with human-like faces. They live and feed in the coral seas and are very curious beings, often sticking their heads out of the water to examine boats, sometimes being known to follow boats for a whole day. They are slow pelagic fishes with a low metabolic system. They can live over 300 years. Gregorias are marine animals with black neck striped with white. Almost nothing is known of them. They live in large groups of several hundreds of individuals feeding on fish. These mysterious animals are seen near the coasts only every 10 years. Their behaviors are still unknown, but some fishermen believe they are high-intelligent animals. Paracelsus are gigantic ocean creatures. They are distinguished by their peculiar double body bound only by the end of the tail and the unusual central mouth. It has 2 brains, 2 pairs of eyes, 2 hearts, 2 digestive and respiratory systems, and reproductive 2 devices, in male and 1 female. It feeds exclusively on deep-sea plankton. The Megalucius is a rare species of deep-sea predator. They have barely been studied since they were recorded in the catalogue, which regroup all known Aldebaran's animals. Its body is almost completely transparent, and it feeds mainly on mollusks of the family, Phlanges giants. In the flesh is very toxic to other fish. Myriosaurus is a medium-sized aquatic animal living in herds in the open sea. They feed on fish and are quite fast swimmers. They can be seen moving in groups with their heads sticking out of the water. This behavior distinguishes them from the plesiosaurs that lived on Earth long time ago. Manganeras are insect-like animals with 4 legs. Their venom is a powerful sedative that is capable of putting a human to sleep almost instantaneously. Greater than when their target is unconscious, they proceed to drink its blood. This isn't lethal for a human, but this animal is dangerous for most of Aldebaran's animals. Catalyst is a beautiful bird-like creature. I open a parenthesis here. The author of this planet Leo wanted a highly realistic ecosystem for his planets, mostly for Aldebaran. As life used the easiest way to evolve and spread on Earthway, can think it did the same mechanisms on another planet. I don't know here if Leo imagined a convergent evolution with this bird, and some fish you'll see later, but I suppose we can admit it's not totally absurd. Bird are the best suited to fly. Some extraterrestrial animals want to fly, they'll to use the same mechanisms and metabolisms. You can tell me what you think about it in the comments. Now we're back to the planet. Here's another bird-like animal, probably close related to the catalyst. Its tail is devised in 3 parts, 2 for the orientation during flight and 1 upward of the stabilization. These species are quite rare and fragile, eating small flying insects. Battels live close to lakes we can found near the coast. This is because they need to drink lots of water. Battels live in burrows they make in large groups without hierarchy. This animal is vulnerable, that's why it never leaves its burrow. The Aldebaran starlight is too dangerous for its skin. However, its body contain lots of protein it is quite appreciated by people that live here. Bartok live alongside riverset, has no hind legs and is a small animal. Little is known about this animal. It probably eat fish and live in small group without hierarchy. It is quite fearful, it is very difficult to approach them. Sand octopus are beach-dwelling ambush predators. They wade in the sand with their tentacles spread out and use their soft bodies to mimic the shape of their prey to lure them in close. It is one of the most dangerous land animal of the planet, solitary and carnivorous. It can stay all its life in the same place if there's enough food. Its reproduction is totally unknown. Males are smaller and seem to move more than females. It lives exclusively in coastline sandbeds. Of course, this little animal isn't related to dogs found on Earth. And despite the resemblance, arboreal dogs from Aldebaran are really different from terrestrial predators. They are solitary and omnivorous. On land they are slow runners, but more comfortable in the trees where they hunt birds and big insects. Even if they are quite small, they are the top predators of their environment, which is coastal forests. They never come to the beach, where sand metoctopus are too dangerous. Marsals are small frog-like creature. However, they look like amphibians. They are totally independent from water areas. Their only defense is its speed. They can run at over 50 km per hour. Their meat is appreciated by local people, but these animals are becoming quite rare. It is unknown if they are endangered to extinction or if they avoid regions humans colonized. Flagur is a rare bird, discovered recently despite its large size. It has been seen eating fruits and leaves, and it is solitary and diurnal. Garlax is a reptilian bird. It is carnivorous. It lives in couple alongside mountain plateau and it is quite common. It is often preyed by the dangerous javelins. During hot seasons, garlax leave the mountains and reproduce and lay eggs in the forest close to the coasts. It is probable the hot temperature influences the sex of the fetus inside the eggs. Hot temperatures increases the rate of males. However, this decision is a big problem for this species as the females are becoming rare. Peagle really looks like eagles from Earth. Humans that discovered the bird-like animal named it peagles for this reason. However, it has no beak, just a big mouth with sharp teeth, indicating it is meat-eating. Also, it has 2 powerful fingers on its legs. It can grab prey as heavy as it. Javelins are birds that attack anything that moves, diving and piercing their prey. They drink the blood from it until the very last drop. They live inland, on the Hig H plains, and are the top predators of this ecosystems. They fly in pairs to stalk their prey. These animals are really feared by humans. However, the horn in the front of their head has a great pecuniary value as this animal is really difficult to kill. Caravels are giant herbivorous reptiles. They are able to produce helium to float by consuming a specific type of algae. On Aldebaran they are always kept hitched at air stops so that the helium they produce can be harvested. The extraction process is not deadly to the caravella. In the wild they live in small groups and their immense size protects them from all predators on the planet. Except predators from the ocean, caravels migrate to other islands sometimes and have to fly above the oceans. This is a dangerous travel for them, as big animals can jump out from the ocean to catch the caravels that fly at low altitudes. We don't know why they migrate, because the islands they seem to go to are totally unknown. Harpy sharks are extremely dangerous flying creatures. They can be found at the giant swamps, and are likely a threat to airships passing through the region. Animals that live in the Aldebaran's giant swamps are mostly unknown because most of them are extremely dangerous and it is really difficult to study them. Terralican is a harmless bird-like animal. They never live this dangerous region because the waters are plenty of fish. They survive by being very prolific, laying lots of eggs in the canopy and only a few become adult. Tiamat is a largely unknown creature living exclusively in the large rivers of the Great Swamp. It is solitary but has been seen only one time. The specimen was over 4 meters long and looked really aggressive against other animals. Here's a frightful worm. It is totally blind and live in the canopy. The screaming worm gets its name from the terrifying screams it makes at night. The reason of these screams is unclear, maybe to look more dangerous than they really are. In fact, this animal is harmless. It can only attack other animals with its long sharp teeth, but it's not enough compared to other creatures of the swamp. The silver conger is a sea creature that only lives out in the open sea. It is much sought after but most ships will not brave the open seas. However, they have to reproduce in the Great Swamps every 4 years, but the region is way too dangerous for fishermen to. It may be strange that this little creature create bioluminescent by night. It could attract predators. Actually, it seems that being eaten is part of the development of this strange animal. It is a parasitic octopus-like animal living most of its long life inside large animals and eat what's inside them without killing them. Halioptrius is a big slug. It is protected by its long venomous spines. They never go to the water because they just can't swim, but the vegetation is dense enough for the slug to go everywhere. Only big rivers stop them. Liviere is an ambush creature. They create a structure with wood and its saliva where it can hide it, then jump out of it when a small creature comes too close. Here is the most terrifying creature of the swamp, the nightmare. We know nothing about it, but we suppose it is an arboreal predator. Stabilization must be complicated with its huge head, however its arms are strong enough to move through the trees. It is solitary and nocturnal, its black body making it invisible at night. Dordoyans are essentially harmless creatures. They live in colonies inside of gourds. They are probably the only creature that is totally harmless within the giant swamps of Aldebaran. The reason is their pulpit is inedible. Most animals of the swamp seems to know that. The gobalt is a plump crocodile-like animal with no arms. It swims through the waters to catch prey with its long harpoon tongue. He lives in small groups or alone and mostly eat flying creatures like the terralican. Females lay floating eggs with an extremely strong shell so no animal can break it, and females don't have to find a specific place for them. Eluder are strange carnivores incapable of moving. They usually only measure just a few inches. Here is a rare species called the giant eluder that are large enough to consume a theodore. Its shapeless body grows based on the trunks of the trees that eventually pierce entirely. The animal's internal organs develop around these trunks. The animal uses its long neck, capable of elongating and retracting to quickly capture prey. It also has a powerful jaw, 7 strongest shield break under the pressure. Theodores are great aquatic reptiles. They move in herds of a dozen individuals living out at sea. At the beginning of the summer they travel to the giant swamps to lay their eggs in the calm waters between the roots of trees. Most beasts would never dare attack a herd of theodores. Although they are powerful animals, they are herbivores and pacifists with adults are carnivorous aquatic reptiles which are usually terribly aggressive. They live in groups of 10 individuals. There is 2 known species of wit. Old One of them has no hind limbs and the other, like this one, has 4 limbs, but the 2 species rarely leaves the water. They live exclusively in large rivers of the giant swamps and they must be the most dangerous animals of this ecosystem. They live exclusively in large rivers of the giant swamps and they must be the most dangerous animals of this ecosystem.